Welcome to the world of Kyoukai, a trading card game inspired by isometric RPGs like Disgaea and Final Fantasy Tactics. Each card in Kyoukai is a gate that you open on the field. Manage them like units by moving, attacking, and using your unique effects to approach your opponent's entrant. Deal 20 damage to their entrant to win. This game is a product of two dreams. Our artist Mark and myself are creating Kyoukai with a passion for the way a TCG can immerse you in art and world building. With an initial storyline mapped out over 4 sets driving art and gate design, we hope you'll join and support us in crafting a product with no corporate funding or oversight, and a pure love of TCGs on both a casual and competitive level. Now let's get into how to play. First, using the simulator itself. When you open the simulator, you'll be greeted with a login screen and a disclaimer. Kyoukai will use your internet connection to download gate images and gate scripts and store them on a local folder. It will also update them when changes are made. Multiplayer games use peer-to-peer and Godot Matcha to create lobbies. Simply choose a username and use this arrow to start the game, at which point gates will be downloaded. If they're already up to date, it'll skip this, but gate images still need to be cached by Godot. Once you're in, you'll see play and deck buttons. All the other options will be disabled. Click on the deck button to view your starter deck, and you can hover over gates to see what they do in the info window in the bottom left corner. Or right-click on them to get a closer look at the printed gate. You can also scroll through the gate pool beneath the deck as well and read over all of the gates written so far, even though you won't be able to use any of the non-starter deck gates in a game quite yet. You can also change your entrant here and view their currently written gate pools. The search scroll will show every gate that they could play in their deck, including placeholder slots. This is still the alpha, so any changes you make to the deck can't be saved. What you can do is click on Test and load the starter deck into an offline game. The CPU opponent has no AI behind it, it'll simply pass back to you and discard for hand size, but you can use this mode to test out interactions between gates and get a feel for moving gates around in the simulator. For this video though, I'll be showing you how to play in an online game, so use the exit button in the top left corner to leave this game. Now, let's go back to the menu and click on Play. There are many play modes planned, but the only available one at this time are lobbies. All you have to do is click on Create Room. You can give it a name first, but if you don't, it'll use your username for the room's name. Then have your friend join the room on their own computer. Any additional users that join after the first one will be marked as watchers. You can also join as a watcher with the Watch button. Once both players have confirmed their deck choice, the Host Start button should unlock. Hit Start to begin the game for both players and all watchers. Any watcher that joins after the game is already started will not be able to watch. Now we can play Kyoukai. Each player has an entrant that starts on the field of 5x5 zones. A main deck with 40 gates from which you start with a hand of 5 of them, and a spirit deck with up to 15 gates. This starter deck will only have 2. Some gates besides your entrant can also start the game and play, for example, Childhood Guardian. When reading a Kyoukai gate, you can always find the way that it opens on the field by looking at the top of it. The top colored box shows the gate's open cost. This is an action or condition you must fulfill to open that gate at all. You must also have a zone in which it can be opened. Right now, your only ready gate on the field is your entrant, so you can only open gates into these 2 zones marked in blue whenever you hover over a gate. By the way, you'll notice every other gate is currently grayed out. This is because the game begins with a setup phase, where you can open any gates that start the game on the field. So, let's go back to Childhood Guardian in your Spirit deck and click and drag it into a zone that it can be opened into. You'll notice its zone brightening as you drag Childhood Guardian past it. Let it go while the zone is lit up and it'll drop into that zone. Otherwise, it'll snap back to its slot in your Spirit deck. Childhood Guardian has no open effect, so it simply opens ready as stated in its cost. However, all other gates will open rested. In the starter deck, Childhood Guardian is the only gate that can be opened during setup. That means if you're going first, you won't have anything you can open here. Once you're done, click Finish. You'll get a label in the top right that you're waiting for your opponent to finish setup as well. Or, if they already have, the game will start. During a turn, you can open any number of gates from your hand or spirit deck and take an action with each of your ready gates on the field. However, whenever you open a gate or use an effect, stop after placing it in a zone and paying its cost. Each time either player opens a gate, their opponent can respond with a fast skill or gate of their own. If you do not wish to respond at all, simply click Decline to respond. If you have no gates or skills that you could respond with, the game will automatically decline for you. In Kyoukai, if you choose not to respond, the other player can respond as well. Only once both players have declined a response to an effect do all opened gates start to resolve backwards. In this example, your opponent has targeted your Childhood Guardian with a punch. If it resolves, your Childhood Guardian will be dealt 3 damage. It has 1 defense, which means it needs to be dealt more than 1 damage during a sequence to be discarded. All damage is removed at the end of each sequence. While Childhood Guardian has a fast skill. Fast skills and fast gates can be identified by this red symbol. They also have red cost boxes. The top left of each gate also has a skill tree showing some additional information about each gate. In this case, you can see that Childhood Guardian has a fast skill branched from its typing. Let's respond to Punch with Childhood Guardian's skill, Familiar Instinct. Skills are formatted the same way as open effects, so you can see there's no written cost for this skill. However, all non-passive skills have an additional cost. They must be ready, and you need to rest them to activate their skills. So, since our Childhood Guardian starts ready, let's rest it to activate Familiar Instinct. Let's have both players decline to respond to Childhood Guardian. That means it's time to resolve this sequence of 2. Once both players have declined, each effect resolves first and last out, or backwards from the order they were activated. That means Childhood Guardian resolves first, moving to your entrance side. Lastly, Punch's original target is now empty, and it deals its 3 damage to an empty zone. Use this and other fast effects and skills to swing the outcome of your opponent's effects in your favor. Now, let's start a turn of our own. After opening Hunting Eagle, you'll see its open effect readies it immediately. So let's make use of that right now. Let's rest it to take its standard action. Every one of your ready units on the field can take a standard action each turn by resting them. To take this standard action, first, move it within its movement range, stated in its top corner and shown on the field in green. This movement is also treated as a skill, and as such your opponent can respond. Once both players have declined to respond and you're resolving the movement, choose a zone to move to and the gate will move there. Right after that you'll find it selects itself again. After a gate is rested, it cannot start a new action that turn. But, immediately after moving, a gate can either attack or use its skill. To attack, target a bordering zone for cost. Your opponent can see this target as they decide if they want to respond. At resolution, the gate will deal its attack stat to its target. Now that Eagle's been used up, it won't ready until the start of your next turn. Note that, like Childhood Guardian, Hunting Eagle has a fast skill that allows it to dodge. However, to use this during an opponent's turn, it must be ready. In other words, you must end your turn without using any of its standard actions to use it on their turn. Also note that when taking a standard action, you can immediately use that gate's attack or skill without moving first. However, you will not be able to move afterwards. It's basically the same move then attack scheme as Fire Emblem or many other strategy RPGs. Finally, ending your turn starts one more sequence. After this sequence ends, the next player's turn will immediately start. Find ways to close in towards your opponent and deal 20 damage to their entrant to win. If you have any further questions, please ask them in the comments of the itch.io page or on Blue Sky. Both of those are linked in the description of this video.